Alright guys, I'm back again. And today I'm going to talk about 9 to 5. How 9 to 5 is supposed to be a starting point or an end point, but you have to decide on what you want for your life. Back to before I go into detail, I need to make a disclaimer for everyone. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not your consultant. I am not a lawyer. I'm just some guy that was able to retire early, lean fire. And yeah, let's talk about it. How was I able to lean fire? What's a 9 to 5? And who doesn't qualify or wants to be a 9 to 5 person? There's certain personality traits for a 9 to 5, and one of them, to be honest, is pretty obvious. You don't like working for anyone. 9 to 5 is not made for everyone. Some people can do it, some people can't. But basically, 9 to 5, you're giving your time away to a company for compensation. It's your time. How much is your time is worth is how you feel it. And 9 to 5 is not bad. And let me give you some benefits of working 9 to 5. A stable job. You get a stable income, and you can actually look into online nowadays on highest paying jobs. So if you're only worried about money, you can look up the highest paying jobs in America. And I can show y'all right now on the screen the highest paying jobs. And you can do one of those jobs and make a lot of money. And let's see. Let's look at it. The number one highest paying job is anesthesiologist. It pays $239,000 a year on average. That's a really good job. Now, did you look at the downside of this profession? It's a doctor. Let's look at the next one. There's another doctor position. Look at the next one. Another doctor position. So it looks like in the future we need more doctors, because they're projecting 1,900 more jobs they need for psychiatrists. Well, that makes sense, because the new issue we're having is mental health issue with the people from the new generation. They're just not ready for the workforce, and they've been coddled too much with too much information. And I believe personally it's just an information overload. They don't know what to do because they have too much information. I mean, if I was younger and I saw this, I would have an issue too, because I'm looking at it, and the very first thing is parents tell a kid now is go out and make money. Well, you're gonna look up what's the highest paying job for the least number of education you have. And I think this list look right. I mean, you have doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, and engineering. I mean, you have to go to school to be those things. Now, IT manager makes sense, but what is an IT manager? Is someone who manages the IT network. Now, before I get into detail about it, 9 to 5 is made for some people who wants to work for someone, let them pay for the insurance, let them cover everything, and then they work for 20, 30 years saving their money to retire. You can accelerate it like I did by not ever spending money. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Budget and not spending money. Only spending money on what you need, and you can get a really high paying job and retire early. It's very possible. How much money do you need to retire? Is the other thing. Now, 9 to 5. I'm gonna go over some of the facts that maybe you're not made for 9 to 5, and one of them is you feel trapped when someone else is dictating your hours. You don't like being told what to do. If you don't like being told what to do, going to work for someone where they tell you what to do all the time does not work out very well. And then you're a fan for bedtime, revenge, procrastination. Well, what does that mean? It just means that you just stay up at night and do your hobbies, do whatever you want to do, and it makes you suffer at your workplace. And being suffering at someone's workplace because you don't want to work is an issue. You know, it's going to cause people to want to not work with you. It's going to cause other problems. So if you're not going to bed on time and waking up late, showing up to work late, you know, you might want to look at trying to self-employ, trying to get yourself out there, because 9 to 5 is just a starting point, guys. You need to graduate from 9 to 5. Everyone has to start at 9 to 5, unless you're filthy rich. And then why are you working in the first place? And not liking your job. So you have to figure out what is best for yourself. And another one is you kind of have a nomadic soul. You kind of like to travel. You kind of like doing things on your own. And you just want to wander and make money. And that doesn't work well with businesses and corporations, because they want to kind of hold you between your 9 to 5 and...
This is what freedom looks like.
want you in a certain part of the area because they might need you to work in XYZ. And that's the truth about 9 to 5. And then you don't like to be limited on number of holidays you want. Let's say you have a very big family and you want to go to all your family events. Well, you can't work a 9 to 5 and do that, because some families have 13, 14, 15 people, and some people have 1 or 2. The 1 or 2 people is easy to accommodate for. But when you start getting a bigger family, everyone's starting to have a family, it makes it hard for people to visit because they're always working. And it does affect family life if you work a 9 to 5. If you work a 9 to 5, if you have a really good job, they stick to the 9 to 5 and you can spend time with your family. But as an engineer or a doctor, you really don't get that on your own. You kind of get stuck at working with someone, and it's alright. Now, is there different ways people should make money? Yes, there's different ways. There's drop shipping, there's personal branding, there's, starting your own company. And I started my own company, and I didn't spend any of that money, none of it, on myself. Even if I paid myself 50, 70 grand a year, it all went into investment. I just lived off my 9 to 5 and used my business to invest all that money. That's how I got multiple houses. I lived less than I need. Now, did I mess up with money before? Yes. Everyone messes up with money. Money is one of those things that if you don't mess up with it, eventually you're going to mess up. Like, no one's perfect with money. Even someone like Dave Ramsey, who is supposed to be trying to be the first billionaire that does it all cash. Well, does it look like he's doing it? Yes. Now, what's the downside? He went broke before when he first started, right? And he has to come to realize that even himself isn't perfect because he messed up before, and he openly admitted it. Does it make him greedy that how he controls his money and he controls it according to his belief in the biblical text? I don't know. That's for everyone else to figure out. But is he doing good work? Yeah. He's helping people, and the average people will appreciate it because the average people don't think about money all the time and how to get out of debt. They just kind of put themselves there. It's a mental thing that everyone has to figure out. That you have to go mess up a little bit. Or in the future, you don't know how to get out of it. You'll panic. So, is a 9 to 5 a entry point? Or is it end point? That's what you have to decide. For me, I just used it as an entry point. And make a lot of money in the industry and get out so you can live the way you want to live. If you want to work 40, 50 years at a company that pays you what they determine, that's okay. As long as you save your money and not spend it all. Same thing if you want to start your own business, you can't spend your business money. It's your business money. It's not your money, it's your business. So you have to pay all the bills. You have to do all this before you get paid. That's the harsh reality of business. You know, you have bills to pay on top of your personal bills. And no one talks about it. So it's 9 to 5 is a beginning point. And why is it a beginning point for me? It's because you go get a degree, you go and chase after your dream of wanting to retire. How much you need to retire is when you go into a workplace, it should be on top of your mind and not after effect. When you go to your first job, you need to be thinking, okay, how long do I want to work for? If you say I want to work 40, 50 years, okay, don't save as much. But don't bitch later that someone else got to retire early or got out of the workforce and lived a carefree life. It's all because whenever you first get to a job, doesn't matter what job, you're going to tell yourself, I hate this or I love this. Most time people say, I hate this job. Well, then find another job you like. Well, I need the money. Well, find one that you hate least and can make a lot more money so you can get out of working if you don't like working. It's all about saving money to retire. That's what people need to understand. The other people they need to understand is you can't chase the money amount. And why do I say you can't chase the money amount? Well, if you try to chase the money amount and you live in like the Bay Area, what are you going to do? You're going to hurt yourself by the cost of living. You know, everyone always tells me, why don't you move back to Vietnam? You know, cost of living over there is pennies compared to America. You know what? They're kind of right. You know, if you go look at how much it costs to live in some of these areas, it's ridiculous. The cost alone to live in, let me see if I can find one that, let's say, yeah, let's look at Houston. Houston is cost of living is 55.4% lower than national average, which means it's cheaper to live in Houston than the average place in the United States. And let's look at the cost comparison. We're 91.9% cheaper to live in Houston than in any other place. If you just look at these numbers right here, it's cheaper to live in Houston. So me living in Houston, being that cost of living is cheaper, it makes it easier for me to save money. Like if I go to San Francisco and they're at 86.5% higher than national average, and I'm not making, 86.5% increase from Texas to California, it makes no sense. They're just too high to live here. And let's look at New York City. New York City is 77.0% higher than national average. That's not good if you want to try to save and retire. So you have to look at, oh, it's going to cost me this much money, and you can't just look at the money amount now. You have to look at, hey, where should I live? I decided Houston because it was cheaper. And even Dallas is 7% higher than national average. Houston is one of the only places that's less than national average right now. And is it okay? Yeah, it's alright. But something you need to start looking at. You have to look at what you want compared to where you're going. People think 9 to 5 is, oh, I got a 9 to 5 and that's the end of it. My career, this is all I'm going to do in my life. Dude, 9 to 5 is a starting point for everyone. But, yeah, that's all I got for y'all. Please like and subscribe. Just summarize everything up is 9 to 5, you need to decide. Or you can use it to help you retire early, or you can use it to help start a business. Because 9 to 5 is supposed to be for you to have a basic living. And then, if you really want to make money, you need to sell stuff or start your own business. If you want to retire even faster. You can't be using 9 to 5 and thinking you're going to make billions off of 9 to 5. It just doesn't happen that way. The only way you can make that much money and be realistic with yourself if you own the company or own part of the company. You're not going to get rich or wealthy from working for someone in 5 or 10 years. It's just illogical and doesn't make sense to say, hey, 5 10 years I'm going to retire from this company and they're going to give me all the money. No, they're not. What's going to happen is you're going to have to start your own side hustle, make enough money from your side hustle, and save it all away to retire. That's how I got 3 houses after that, after I started working. All my side hustle I used to put into real estate. But, yeah, that's all I got. Later.